Joe Higgins, you have 5 minutes.
Good morning, and I agree strongly with those sentiments in the motion which says that the debt burden on Ireland and on other European states is unsustainable and a huge block to the economic and social development of society. I agree also with the sentiment that it is the social and economic interests of our people that were sacrificed to private banks and to the European financial markets in the bailouts. And of course there should be support for a European debt conference. I do not agree, incidentally, that the European Union was ever managed on the basis of being a zone of solidarity and mutual respect. It was and is a club for the major corporations, the finance houses, the armaments industry, and of course the establishment politicians from the Christian democracy and the social democracy. Not solidarity, but right-wing neoliberalism, privatisation and profit maximisation for the benefit of big capitalists is what has driven the leading institutions of the European Union. It is incredible that the government fails to support a debt conference. The craven adherence of Fine Gael and Labour to the austerity agenda, driven by the financial markets and the right-wing governments throughout Europe, shames the Irish people, who have been victims of austerity and who have, in many occasions, stood in solidarity with the people of Greece and indeed of other countries where people have suffered. It is truly breathtaking that an Irish Minister for Finance would describe the Irish debt as affordable and repayable and being in a good position, when just under €8 billion a year in interest alone is paid to banks and bondholders. The big majority of it odious debt or the result of odious debt being foisted on the Irish people and the damage that did to the economy. They are billions that could and should be going into investment, into infrastructure, into the creation of tens and hundreds of thousands of jobs for our people and for our youth especially. €1 billion out of that alone a year, for example, would transform the water infrastructure and obviate the push by the current government to impose a hated water tax, which will not be accepted. The Irish people, like the Greek people, need a debt conference, but not merely to stretch out the repayments over a longer period of time and put the burden, instead of the burden, on the present generation or on the children of the present generation, but the children of children yet unborn. That would be a rotten compromise. A debt conference should be to repudiate odious debt. The Irish people have no responsibility for what was foisted on them as a result of what was speculated and gambled during the bubble. The Greek people have no responsibility for the reckless lending by European banks and bondholders to right-wing Greek governments, the majority of which did not benefit the Greek people, but an elite in that society, and similarly the people of Portugal, of Spain and of other countries. The coming to power of Syriza in Greece has given hope to people in that country and much wider afield. A party to stand against austerity is what people have yearned for. Syriza, however, will have to hold firm to its election promises to improve the lot of working-class people and must not in any sense agree a rotten compromise with the European debt monger. Syriza inevitably will come into headlong confrontation with the financial markets, with Frau Merkel and the other neoliberal political parties. They will try to undermine and destroy this government in Greece. But if Syriza and the Greek people are forced into a corner and forced to default or pushed out of the euro, they can only stave off disaster then by taking the most radical democratic and socialist measures to nationalise the banks under public ownership, major sectors of the economy similarly, so that it can be planned for the people, capital and credit controls to stop the speculators, and such radical measures taken in the interest of people. A socialist programme, in fact, to transform the horror created by the barbarism of the profit system and the financial marketeers. Da bhísin cahialach mar focailscoil tacaíocht de códáil orpach mar le fiacha a chur ceall agus comáile sin tacaíocht le lucht ibrin na gréige agus I bhábhar a harú radicach sosialach den lachach le fáil réig le córas barbartha na margadaí airgeadais agus an chapitlachis gur magat.
Thank you, Deputy Higgins. I now call on